Once upon a time, Cassie Galonen and Brett Cotta update their online status to married.
He just had to be there. I don't think you can describe it, how happy she looked.
He definitely was head over heels for her.
They were really, really happy, and you could tell that there was love.
But then, without warning, LOL turns to OMG.
No one had gotten any phone calls, and there was nothing on Facebook. I couldn't stop crying. I knew something was wrong. I remember telling my husband, I don't think this is going to end well.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. Near Fort Smith, Arkansas, the air is electric as an unusual couple prepares for an unconventional wedding. For 24-year-old Cassie Galonen and 32-year-old Brett Cotta, it's been a hardcore rock and roll romance. Filled with trips to Vegas, nights on the town, and all the gifts a girl could ask for.
She felt like a princess. He took very good care of her, and whatever she wanted to do, he was game for it.
And now the hip young couple is making it official. But these two free spirits do it their way.
This definitely wasn't the average wedding couple. I mean, in jeans and t-shirts and piercings and tattoos.
They skip the church and preacher and head right to the justice of the peace. Cassie's had 2 failed marriages already, but knows this time it's right. She's fallen hard for the divorced dad and his 3 beautiful kids. Brent has had his share of heartache too, but now he has Cassie. And she's infused him with a new zest for life.
He would say that he felt like he was the luckiest man on earth. They got together and he was really happy, and so was she.
It wasn't the first wedding for either one, but this was one that mattered. This was based on love, and they went as their natural selves. Love on their own terms.
Their summertime romance is young, fresh, and fiery hot. But 6 months later, all that is replaced by ice-cold fear. Cassie is missing. It's the afternoon of New Year's Eve, and she hasn't been seen since the previous night. Brent makes an anxious phone call to her mom.
And he said, nobody has seen or heard from her. I think she's missing. And I said, what do you mean? You think she's missing? And he said, well, she was supposed to go to a party last night.
Brent says he was too tired, so he stayed home, and Cassie went with other friends. He assumed Cassie might have decided to crash there and slept late. But by now she should be at her bartending job on her busiest night of the year. And Brent just checked. She hasn't shown.
Okay, all right.
I was worried because I knew Cassie would miss her, what I call her money night.
No one can get through to her on her cell phone. They check her social media sites, which are usually buzzing with posts.
She's such a social butterfly. Whether she's texting, Facebooking, calling, somebody always knew where she was. And at 4:30, nobody knew or had heard from her.
But Cassie is impulsive, and she does like to party. Could she have gone off on some spur-of-the-moment adventure?
When I first found out she was missing, I thought, I'm sure she's okay. Cassie's tough. I mean, she can handle herself.
She's certainly tough, but her family isn't taking any chances. They turn to social media to get the word out that they haven't heard from her.
And the response was almost immediate. People were going, what do you mean she's missing? Where is she? Well, where could she be?
The news spreads lightning fast online. Where could Cassie have gone? Just as her life was coming together. Cassie Galonen has a bumpy childhood. Her biological father disappears before she's even born.
When we talked, she would say that she had daddy issues and that she required more attention from the guys because of that.
In high school, she develops a rebellious streak.
She would dye her hair 2 or 3 different colors at one time. Her fingernails would be painted black, and she wore a lot of t-shirts with brains popping out of the head and things like that.
At 16, she drops out of high school and gets married.
I think it was just mainly because he had a car and was able to take her away, and he was a little bit older, so it was an escape. She thought it would be easier to get married and get her GED and move off, and she found out that was the toughest path that she could have made.
Not surprisingly, the marriage ends after a year. Now single, she gets that GED and starts tending bar to support herself. At 21, she hits it off with an equally free-spirited musician.
They enjoyed the same kind of music. He loved tattoos. She loved tattoos.
They marry, but then his band hits the road, leaving her alone for long stretches, a widow of punk rock.
Cassie wanted to have her partner be with her, and he was gone a lot, and I know that that put a big strain on their relationship.
To the outside world, Cassie seems independent, bold, and fearless. But deep down, she has a burning need for love and attention.
My heart goes out to Cassie. I understand this kind of pain, this longing for love. She wants to be loved, and she wants somebody to stay. Is that a lot for a girl to ask?
Brent Cotta grows up in the neighboring town of Alma, Arkansas, the youngest of 4 kids from his mom's 3 marriages. His mom always doted on her baby boy, giving him special attention and love. After high school, Brent marries and has 3 great kids. He loves being a dad, but there's constant friction with his wife. Things get worse when his beloved mother is diagnosed with cancer and doesn't make it. He takes the loss hard and turns to drinking.
He was pretty devastated when she passed away. Then his drinking just kind of went over the top, and his first wife ended up leaving him.
It's very common when you have only a single parent, when you lose that single parent, no matter what your age, to go into a Great Depression.
Now he's trying his best to get everything back under control, raising his kids and working in retail. Around the winter holidays of 2009, Brent's feeling blue. He's lost his mom, his wife, and only sees his kids every other weekend. Some friends try to lift his spirits and invite him to a New Year's Eve party. He gets a babysitter and hopes he can forget his heartache and enjoy himself. That night at the party, Cassie's feeling down too. Her husband's on the road again. She's both surrounded by friends and all alone. That's when the quiet guy with the sweet smile approaches. She opens up to him, and it turns out Brent's a good listener with a wounded heart like hers. They connect instantly and talk the night away, confiding in each other.
I think that what brought them together was they each needed something that they felt the other person could give them.
Brent appreciates that she understands the pain that comes from loss and a broken heart. And she can tell he's a caring, mature guy she can let her guard down with.
He really showed her a lot of attention, and after being alone, I think that that was a big drawing point and made her feel really special.
They've finally found what they've both been missing. But now, Cassie is lost and no one can find her. She lives her life through social networking, constantly online, texting, calling, her every move revealed to the world. But the social butterfly has been completely silent for almost a full day.
Everybody thought it was strange that they weren't hearing from Cassie.
Her mother can just feel something bad has happened.
Moms have a sixth sense. They have an instinct. Cassie's mother knew something was up. She was the first one to move on this. For Cassie to go silent, something was really wrong.
Six months after marrying Brent Cotta, new bride Cassie Cotta has gone missing. She hasn't texted or posted online for almost a full day. It's completely unlike her. Brent says she went to a party the night before with a guy named Kevin. Brent doesn't want to leave the kids alone and scare them. So Cassie's mom confronts Kevin about what happened the night before.
And I told him, I said, I need you to tell me the last time you saw her.
He told her that he had talked to Cassie and Cassie wanted to go to a party with him, but he didn't really want her to go. So he went by himself and left her behind.
But Brent insisted she went with Kevin. So Cassie's mother gives Kevin a stern warning.
I said, well, I'm going to tell you right now, the police are going to be here to question you, and you need to be cooperative.
Cassie's mom calls police to ask them to investigate. But she's stunned to hear they won't open a case yet. Cassie hasn't been missing long enough.
She went to a party last night and she did not come home.
They tell her it's perfectly legal for adults to go to a party and decide to continue the party.
We see this all the time. She'll show up tomorrow. Just give her time. She's pulling a drunk. And I said, no, she's not. I said, she had to work. And she's very responsible. Imagine her frustration. You're in a situation where every second counts. And you can't get the authorities to move? She became active in the search even before the police did.
Cassie's mom mobilizes family and friends. Everyone in Cassie's orbit wants to help.
They got flyers put up. They were letting everybody know socially, and they were going out through Facebook and Twitter to get the word out that she couldn't be found.
They organize search parties and do what they can without police assistance.
Everybody did call the hospitals, call the jails, and she wasn't in none of them, so people were starting to worry.
But Brent doesn't want the kids to worry about their beloved stepmom.
Where's Cassie?
He puts up a brave face. But sometimes fear overwhelms him.
And he hugged me and he was crying. He's like, I just want my wife back. And you looked at him and he just looked so devastated.
How can his vibrant new wife be gone? Just 16 months earlier, they connected deeply and fast. Brent shows Cassie the attention her musician husband isn't around enough to show. Feeling that Brent is the one, Cassie asks her husband for a divorce. They amicably agree to part ways.
What happened here?
That's over with.
I mean, over.
It's over.
Now she's a free woman and falling in love again.
All the time, and he was kissing on her, and they'd be just smiling and giggling, and he'd tell her how good she looked, and, just smoochy.
This is the relationship that was going to erase Cassie's past. This was going to bring her an instant family. This was going to bring him the happiness that he longed for, to get him out of the depths of depression after losing his mother. relationship was all about hope.
Like many smitten couples, the two start influencing each other. Brent learns from Cassie how to lighten up and enjoy life more. He starts listening to her music and getting tattoos. He loves being part of a cool crowd.
She was a very powerful soul, man. People were drawn to her. People wanted to be like her. I mean, she didn't conform to any certain style. She had her own style, and she loved that, and she was proud to show it.
It's more often that we hear that a woman transforms herself to please a man. Now we see a guy that's transforming himself to meet a girl's needs. Remember, this is a guy who's just suffered the loss of his mother and then the loss of his marriage. This is a guy who's going to make a woman stick to him. No better way to do it than to mirror her.
Cassie loves all the attention Brent lavishes upon her.
He was awesome at making sure that she knew that she was important to him. He would leave her notes and text her and post on her Facebook. It was evident how much he really cared and loved her.
The romance feels even more like a fairy tale when Cassie finds out Brent is about to become a multi-millionaire. The anticipated result of a massive lawsuit.
He was getting a $20 million settlement from his mom's death from a drug company that the medication that she was taking ended up taking her life. I can't believe you got this.
Even though the $20 million isn't a done deal yet, Brent can't wait. He spends thousands wooing his girl.
He was buying her jewelry and cell phones, and they were traveling all over the place together. They were really having a great time. He took her on trips to Las Vegas and took her to LAE, where she had a tattoo. And the whole time she had a stretch Hummer limousine that was taking her everywhere that she wanted to go.
But for Cassie, the best gift of all is time with Brent's children. Many young women might see 3 kids as a burden.
Look at what your dad got me.
Whoa, that's awesome. Nice, Dad.
But not Cassie.
She was always thinking of new things that she could do with them. I mean, she would, do arts and crafts with them. She wanted them to have a good time, and she really just embraced the mother role.
After a year and a half, Brent decides Cassie is the perfect woman for him. She's beautiful, impulsive, and a natural mother. He wants to be with her forever. She's surprised and a little nervous. Deep down, she knows this is the man she's been waiting for. This will be free-spirited Cassie's 3rd marriage. So she's a little reluctant to tell her more cautious friends and family.
There was a lot of surprise among us in some ways, and then also not because it was Cassie. And so we kind of all went with whatever Cassie does really isn't a big surprise.
But now everyone is much more than surprised. They're terrified. Why would Cassie disappear on New Year's Eve without telling anyone? After 2 days, enough time has passed for Fort Smith police to finally open a missing persons case.
That definitely intensified things, that it made it more real to me, for sure.
Hey, Detective Alexander, I want to talk to you about the events that occurred with Cassie. Okay.
They talk to Brent, who tells them about Cassie going to the party with Kevin. And that Cassie's Facebook page reveals recent postings with Kevin, including an argument. It was posted around the time she was supposed to go to the party with Kevin. Had their online argument ended in real-world violence? Her mom already confronted Kevin and got nowhere. Now police need to track him down and find out what he knows. But then as they continue investigating, a chilly report comes in about a field near Cassie and Brent's apartment. A witness says she noticed a sunken area in the ground, a depression resembling a shallow grave. A fight with a male friend, and now a shallow grave? The possibilities are too horrible to think about.
As hours turned into days, the more we all kind of felt, oh no, something horrible probably has happened to her.
Cassie's friends and family brace themselves as investigators rush to uncover the truth. Newlywed Cassie Cotta has been missing for nearly 3 days. Her husband Brent, her mother, and her many friends are sick with worry. Investigators continue seeking a guy named Kevin, who allegedly went to a party with her and argued with her online. And they need to check a disturbing report of a possible grave near Cassie's apartment. Detectives find the spot and begin a careful excavation. Have they found the missing newlywed?
Detectives. We have.
Eventually, they realize the witness was right. Sort of. It is a shallow grave, but it's not Cassie's.
That lead did turn out to be a dog that had been buried there, what they believe, about a month before that.
Everyone breathes a huge sigh of relief. But it also means Cassie's still out there. Somewhere. Detectives question Kevin, the friend Cassie's husband insists she was with the night she went missing. He admits to arguing with Cassie via text and online, but swears they did not go to the party together. He says he went with another friend instead. Kevin also tells police there was something odd about Cassie's messages that night.
It said, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I'm a free woman. You can't tell me what to do. And at the time, he was thinking,
That doesn't sound like her.
I mean, I knew we had a little bit of a fight, but that didn't seem like enough to make her respond to me in that way.
Why had she sent such a strange text? Investigators need to look into it. But first, they must confirm Kevin's alibi, that he was with another friend when Cassie went missing.
Lance.
The alibi is solid.
His alibi checks out.
Witnesses confirm Kevin was at the party, and Cassie never showed. Police have to release him and cross him off the suspect list. It's a discouraging moment. It's now been nearly 3 days, and the chances of finding Cassie alive are dropping by the hour. Where could the missing newlywed have gone? Just 6 months earlier, she was right where she wanted to be, getting ready to tie the knot with her man in her own particular style.
She wanted to do things her way, and if anybody was standing in her way, she would just walk around them. She didn't care.
Still, some of her friends and family are taken aback that her marriage to Brent is happening so quickly after her recent divorce from her second husband.
This woman is willing to try. Rather than swearing she'll never get married again, that was an awful experience, she's unafraid to try again. She's still with home.
They shoot their own wedding pics and post them online.
They were in front of the courthouse with their marriage license, and I think the caption was, "Oh, yes, we did."
And they update their statuses to married. For wedding bands, the rockers break with tradition again, getting ring finger tattoos instead.
She got his name and he got hers, and they posted the pictures online of their names.
All right, we're all done.
Best of all, Cassie is now officially a stepmother.
So it wasn't like she was falling in love with one person. She was falling in love with 4 people. And she just rolled up her sleeves and dove right in to be the perfect stepmom.
But after the quickie wedding, the impulsive pair do have their share of arguments. with the fiery Cassie sometimes leaving for a day or two to cool off. It seems like growing pains have come for the new couple. Friends hope both learn to calm down a little and get better at resolving their differences. But now it's been 3 full days since anyone has seen Cassie. Police worry that by now they're looking for a body. Had Brent and Cassie's arguments led to deadly violence? It's hard to imagine. Brent is working tirelessly to find her, reaching out to anyone who might know what happened to his wife.
And just the way he described her, you could tell that he truly, really did love her. You could tell whenever he was speaking about her, how his face would light up.
The couple might have had their problems, but no one can believe Brent would kill her.
Just by the way that they talked to each other and showed affection to each other, you could tell that they cared a great deal for each other.
Who could have stolen Brent's beloved bride from him? Everyone is desperate to know. And not surprisingly, the answer will come from the one source that kept Cassie constantly connected to her entire world. Her phone. Six months after Cassie and Brent Cotta tied the knot at the local courthouse, family, friends, and police struggled to understand how a young woman who's constantly in touch on social media could suddenly go silent. Hoping to trace her last movements, investigators ordered GPS and call records for Cassie's and Brent's phones. Desperate for new leads, detectives now take a deeper look at the people closest to Cassie, including her husband, Brent. And when they do, they learn that behind the broken-hearted husband from the newscasts lurks a dark shadow. Friends reveal that within months of the wedding, Brent and Cassie's carefree nightlife
I think you've had enough.
morphs into bouts of heavy drinking for Brent. It had happened before after he lost his mom. Now the lure of self-medicating through booze returns, and the generous and gentle Brent changes.
To sit and talk to him, he seemed like an altogether guy, but he had a dark side to him. And that dark side came out when he drank.
Really? The tab is $75.
That's all I got. Big real money?
Drinking can put such a strain on a relationship. A partner is one person while sober, another person while intoxicated. It's the most inconsistent partnering and parenting.
Why don't you just walk home? I'll see you when I get off.
Whatever.
Making things worse, the couple suffer a huge letdown about the multi-million-dollar settlement Brent had been expecting. It's not coming.
Instead of getting $20 million like Brent thought they were going to get, Brent ended up getting about $17,000. But with all the traveling that they had done before and all the things that Brent had bought for Cassie, it was all gone. There was nothing left from $17,000.
Brent loses his retail job and spends his days drinking rather than looking for another job. Cassie works as many hours as she can bartending, but even working overtime doesn't make ends meet.
And so they started eventually having to pawn everything that he got her to just be able to pay the bills.
In talking to friends, detectives learned even more dangerous tensions had been bubbling up. The attention he lavished on her at first turns to an obsession.
He was obsessed with sitting there making sure there was nobody paying attention to her or nobody talking to her. And if he wasn't there, he would be texting her. Where are you at? Who's there? What are you doing? It feels good at the beginning of a relationship. This was a man who really cared about her. He cared where she was going and what she was doing. Of course, the dark side of that. When men control a woman like that, they're usually so worried that she's going to abandon them
that their own abandonment issues can be ignited at any time.
Oh, you're
What was that?
Some guy.
Some guy?
Stop being so creepy.
When loved ones notice his temper, the newlywed tries to brush it all off.
Nothing. He's not a decent guy. I asked her why she would stay. I said, you're better than this. And she said, I can handle it, Mom. I got this. There's nothing I can't handle.
They decide not to interfere.
We thought, well, Cassie can take care of herself. She could defend herself well. I didn't think Brent was big enough to really hurt her because she was so fiery. And when their relationship was great, it was super great.
But on at least one occasion, it was anything but great. A bitter argument erupts.
Please just go.
Cassie runs for shelter at a friend's house. But Brent calls to lure her back, playing on her love for him to get what he wants.
Don't answer that. What do you want? And he said that he had a gun held up to his head and that he was going to kill himself if she didn't come back.
I'm gonna kill myself.
And I told her, I was like, I'm not going to take you back to him. I was like, just call his bluff. He's lying. He's not going to do it. Don't go back. All right, I'm coming back. I'll be there in a minute. Crazy. And she goes, you know that I can't do that. I love him. And she went back to him that night. She thought that he was going to change. I mean, because everything was great in the beginning. She kept on thinking that things was going to get back to like they were before.
It's the classic delusion of abuse victims. Then detectives talk to the couple's upstairs neighbor. He tells them that on the night before Cassie was reported missing, he heard the newlyweds arguing loudly. Then, silence.
The neighbor walked out of his house and he saw Brent on the front yard, and Cassie's truck was backed up against the front door, and Brent was standing next to it.
Brent tells the neighbor Cassie's run off again, and he's packing up his things to go stay with his ex-wife.
I wish you the best, though, man.
But that's not what Brent has been telling the cops.
Brent had said that Cassie had gone to a party, and now we know that they had had a fight.
Then police finally received the GPS and call logs for Cassie's and Brent's phones.
And it showed that Brent and Cassie were at the house both at the same time. And then the phones both traveled to the outskirts of town. And then right around 2 o'clock in the morning, Brent's phone goes back to the house.
But Cassie's phone stays in the remote area outside of town, unmoving for more than 7 hours. And then, at 8:28, on the morning of December 31st, the signal stops. Cassie's phone is dead.
The fact that Brent's phone goes back to the house and Cassie's is still out at the outskirts of town, that was not very good news. That was a troubling information to find out.
The GPS records only give them an approximate area where Cassie's phone was left. But investigators believe Brent knows the exact location of the phone and of Cassie. Is it possible that the grief-stricken husband was the one who made her disappear, ripping her away from those who loved her most? Brent Cotta's new wife, Cassie, has been missing for 4 days, and he's been leading efforts to find her. But now, detectives have phone GPS evidence that suggests the unthinkable. Brent himself may have killed her and dumped her body on the outskirts of town. They bring him in and confront him.
We're not talking to you as a witness anymore. We're talking to you as a suspect. Brandon, it's over, okay?
But nice, but I didn't.
And I'll continue to be like I said. Don't tell me you didn't do it. Don't tell me you did do it.
Okay? What I want to do is go get in a car and drive, and you tell me which way to turn. I want the woman that you love to have a proper burial, my friend. Yes, you do. Don't be a monster, friend. Yes, let's go.
He leads them on a 30-minute drive out of town to a lonely dirt road.
It's right up here.
Everyone has been praying they'd find Cassie alive. Now Brent destroys that hope. Forever. In her front pocket is the phone that cracked the case. Police charge Brent Cotta with first-degree murder. Then they have to inform the family.
And the detective sat us down, and he said, "Remember I told you that when we know something, we will tell you." And he said, we have found her body. And at that point in time, my concern was for Brent. And I kept asking where he was because he needed family to be around him. They just found his wife dead. And he said Robert had killed her. Again, something I was never prepared for.
Yeah, forensics.
Her loved ones knew he'd been rough with her before, but no one ever thought he would kill her.
The whole world was turned upside down. He hugged all of us. He hugged me 3 times after murdering my best friend, knowing what he did. And he went out there searching for her, asking people if they seen his wife, knowing that nobody did because he murdered her and just tossed her out like she was a piece of trash.
Back at the station, the detectives continue the interrogation. Brent's first story is that he killed Cassie in self-defense after they argued about his continued contact with his ex-wife.
Came on, she got in an argument.
Shut up! I'm leaving.
What? You're leaving? Where are you going? You're not going anywhere.
Let go! Never touch me again.
What do you know about you and Kevin? She kept on, provoking me. And then she gets a steak knife out.
He claims that in the heat of an argument, Cassie attacked him with a knife, and he hit her in the throat, accidentally killing her. But the autopsy proves he's lying. Cassie was strangled to death. Then, days before the trial's set to begin, Brent suddenly changes his story and agrees to plead guilty to murder in exchange for a reduced sentence. He admits it was no accident. Authorities believe the murder happened when Brent's possessiveness grew to toxic levels.
He always showed her a lot of attention, but it got to where he was completely obsessed with her, would not let her have a moment of free time. And then she finally had enough and was going to leave.
She told him she was going to move to California. Unwilling to lose her, he snapped and attacked, squeezing the last breath from her lungs.
You would think, well, if he doesn't want her to leave, why is he killing her? Then she'd leave permanently, right? But in his rage, he's actually keeping her close. He's trying to get her not to leave as he kills her.
When the neighbors saw him with the SUV outside, he had just loaded Cassie's body into it.
Cassie and I had another fight, man.
He drove her body outside of town. took the woman he had sworn to love forever and coldly dumped her like she had meant nothing to him. To cover his tracks, the heartless newlywed used her phone to text her friends.
Apparently, when people were texting her, he was texting back. So people were thinking that it was her, but it wasn't her.
Then he set Kevin up by posting her angry note to him online and lying about her going to the party. And then he joined the people who really did love Cassie, pretending to be desperately worried about her while knowing he was the one who killed her. As part of his plea agreement, Brent Cotter receives a reduced sentence of 30 years in prison. Cassie's murder devastates her countless loved ones.
She touched a lot of people's lives. She sure did. And I don't think she realized it while she was here, and I sure hope she realizes it now.
Her death motivates her mother, Pearl, to take action and raise awareness about domestic abuse. She dedicates her time to reaching out to women in abusive relationships.
And I, encourage them to get with family or to go to a crisis center or to have, do whatever's needed to get out of there. Get out of there. I know of women personally that left an abusive relationship because of Cassie, because of Cassie's story. She didn't make it out, and if a girl who I thought could take care of herself so well can't make it out, then it can happen to anybody.
Cassie's friends create web pages and videos to memorialize a strong young woman who lived life to the fullest until hers was cut short.
She was my firecracker. She was my soulmate best friend, and that's how I see her. And she is very missed and very loved.